So what if I told you that the absolute masterclass in customer loyalty and just, authentic human connection doesn't actually come from a Silicon Valley CEO
Right,
or some best-selling author,
right.
but it comes from a retired healthcare worker who just scans receipts at a municipal golf course in Pennsylvania.
I mean, on the surface, it sounds like a massive stretch.
He really does.
But when we actually break down the daily routine of this specific individual, he is quite literally single-handedly solving the biggest problem in modern customer service.
And that exact problem is what we are unpacking today. So welcome to this deep dive. We are so glad you're here with us.
We really are.
Today, we are exploring a really fantastic piece of source material. It's an article by culture strategist and former Disney leader Jake Poore, and it's titled Turning Transactions into Relationships.
Yeah, it's a great read.
And our mission today for you listening is to basically look at how we have engineered our daily lives to be just brutally efficient, and what happens when one person decides to throw a massive wrench into that machine.
Because we do, right? We spend our days just moving through these systems that are designed specifically to eliminate the human element in favor of raw speed.
Oh, absolutely.
We just want the transaction to be frictionless.
Okay, let's unpack this for a second. Just think about your morning coffee run. Usually, there's this underlying expectation of pure, unfeeling efficiency.
Right, get in and get out.
Exactly. You go to a coffee shop, you hand over your card, the barista hands you a cup, and you both just move on with your lives. It's product for currency. It is clean.
It's totally binary. We like things to be predictable because, we just want to get our caffeine and get to our 9 a.m. meeting.
Yeah, we have places to be, but then, you have one of those rare mornings. You step up to the counter, and the barista doesn't just hand you a cup.
They actually look at you.
Yes, they look you in the eye. They make this highly specific, genuine observation about, like, your scarf. Or they crack a joke that actually makes you laugh out loud.
And suddenly that invisible robotic wall just vanishes.
It totally flips the script. You brace yourself for a robot, and you actually get a real human being. And you walk out feeling just a little bit lighter.
Yeah, you went in for a transaction and you walked out with this micro relationship.
Exactly.
And that shift is entirely by design. Or, well, in most cases, by a complete lack of design. But to understand how to engineer that moment intentionally, we really have to look at the baseline of how most businesses currently operate.
Right, so let's set that baseline so you, listening, can picture exactly what we're talking about here. Let's look at the standard role of a golf starter.
Okay.
Your job, on paper, is dead simple. You check the golfers in, you keep the tee times moving, and you make sure everyone gets off the first tee on schedule.
It's all logistics.
Pure logistics.
Yeah.
The training for this role is entirely focused on three priorities, which are efficiency, efficiency, and efficiency.
Because most organizations offer absolutely no formal training for the human element of these roles. It's this classic see one, do one, teach one methodology.
Yeah, you shadow a veteran employee for an hour or so, you watch them punch the tickets, and then boom, you are handed the clipboard.
Right. The assumption is just that if the line is moving, the job is being done perfectly.
So the typical interaction you get at the first tee is just ice cold.
Mm-hmm.
The employee essentially just barks out a series of robotic questions. They go, tea time! And the golfer says, 9:12 a.m.
Right.
And the starter replies, can I see your receipt? Is everyone in your foursome here? Okay, you're good to go. And then they literally shout to the next group, next.
And we really have to ask ourselves how that interaction actually makes the customer feel.
I'd imagine they feel absolutely nothing. Or, worse, they just feel like a barcode being scanned at a grocery store checkout. It's just a completely forgettable moment.
Which brings us perfectly to the core theoretical framework of today's deep dive.
Yeah, let's get into that.
So the author, Jake Poore, highlights a concept from the restaurateur Will Guidara. And for context for you listening, Guidara is the visionary who took 11 Madison Park from being just a very good New York restaurant and transformed it into the #1 restaurant in the entire world.
Which is wild. And he didn't achieve that by suddenly buying, truffles that cost 10 times as much or firing everyone and hiring entirely new chefs.
No, not at all.
He did it through what he calls the difference between black and white and color.
Exactly. So black and white represents the fundamentals. In a high-end restaurant, the black and white means getting the right food to the right table to the right person at exactly the right temperature.
Right. The basics.
Every competent restaurant has to do that, just like every industry has its own version of the black and white.
So in golf, the black and white would be the tee sheets, the golf carts, the pace of play, and just having beautifully maintained greens.
Yeah.
And in a hospital setting, it's accurate diagnoses, sterile environments, and clinical excellence.
And Guidara argues that the black and white is absolutely critical, but it is not enough to be the best. The secret is adding the color.
The color.
Yeah, color is everything that happens around and beyond the transaction. It's the warmth of the welcome, it's those thoughtful little surprises, it's the highly personalized conversation. Color is essentially the mechanism of how we make people feel.
Okay, but I need to play devil's advocate here for a second.
Go for it.
If I am in a hospital for surgery, or say I am trying to make a really tight tea time on a Saturday morning, isn't efficiency, the black and white, what I actually want most?
Sure.
I mean, isn't an accurate medical diagnosis basically 99% of the battle? I really don't need my doctor to be my best friend or ask about my weekend plans if they're literally saving my life.
Right, right. Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, your premise is entirely valid for establishing baseline trust.
Okay.
Because if a restaurant gives you food poisoning or a hospital botches a surgical procedure, I mean, no amount of friendly banter is going to save that relationship.
Definitely not.
The black and white is the entry fee just to be in business.
With the table stakes.
Precisely the table stakes.
Yeah.
But it is merely the entry fee. Here is the psychological trap that most businesses fall into. They believe that an absence of errors somehow equals an abundance of loyalty.
Oh, wow. That's a trap.
Yeah, efficiency prevents dissatisfaction. It stops people from leaving angry. But efficiency does not create loyalty, it doesn't create memory, and it certainly doesn't create feeling.
It's just neutral.
Exactly. The color is what actually transforms the experience from something you merely endure into something you remember and value long after you leave.
So if efficiency is just the baseline, how does a person actually inject this color into a system that's designed from the ground up to be a factory line?
That's the challenge.
And that is exactly the puzzle our unexpected hero solved.
Yeah.
Enter Jack Dunleavy. He is the starter at the Allentown Municipal Golf Course in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
And Jack operates entirely in color. He takes that cold, robotic black and white check-in process and just shatters it.
He absolutely refuses to treat the golfers as a logistical problem to be processed. The source material outlines his methods beautifully. Jack essentially treats every person walking up to his tee box as a guest arriving at his own personal dinner party.
Yeah, the mechanics of how he does this are just brilliant. The article shows that Jack breaks the mold instantly. Instead of leading with his clipboard or asking, "Tea time, receipt," he actually makes direct eye contact before looking at any screen.
Right, human first.
Yes, his opening line is, "Good morning, gentlemen, and welcome to Allentown Municipal Golf Course. We are so glad you're here."
And just consider what he's doing in that tiny 5-second window. He is intentionally pausing the machine.
Yeah.
He is gathering data not about their reservation, but about them as human beings. By just listening to their banter as they walk up or noticing their body language, he customizes his entire approach.
The expert-level customization is really what stood out to me. The article gives these incredible examples of Jack in action. Like, if a group tells him they drove in from New Jersey, Jack doesn't just say, "Cool, where's your receipt?"
Right, he doesn't brush past it.
He leans into it. He says, "Wow, you passed a lot of golf courses to come to our little slice of heaven. Thank you for choosing us. What made you pick us?"
He is validating their choice. I mean, he is making a group of guys at a public municipal course feel like VIPs who just made the absolute best decision of their weekend.
Or, if he sees a golfer standing there, gripping their driver way too tight, just staring down the fairway and looking visibly anxious.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. He'll tailor his approach right to that specific emotion. He'll soften his voice and say, "First time playing here. You picked a great day for it. Relax and enjoy."
That's so perceptive.
It is. Or if a mother and daughter walk up to the tee, he'll lean in and say, "Nothing better than a round together, ladies."
My absolute favorite tactic from the article, though, is how he uses a literal bullhorn.
Oh my gosh, yes.
If a group is ready to tee off, Jack doesn't just, wave them on. He pulls out a megaphone and announces them to the course like they are stepping onto the first tee at the Masters.
Oh, that detail is fantastic. He'll get on the bullhorn and echo, "Now driving from Princeton, New Jersey, winner of the 2025 Arnold Palmer Putt-Putt Contest, Mr. Jake Poore."
It just completely disarms everyone.
And he only asks for their tee time and receipt after he has established that customized connection.
Which changes everything.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. Think about the difference between buying an off-the-rack suit at a department store versus having a tailor measure you for a custom fit.
Okay, yeah.
Both of them technically cover your body, right? But only one makes you feel like $1,000,000. Jack's true genius is that he makes these golfers feel seen before he makes them move.
That concept, being seen before being moved, is so vital to understanding modern consumer psychology
Yeah.
because we spend so much of our lives just being moved. We are moved through traffic, we're moved through grocery lines, moved through medical waiting rooms.
Just shuffled along.
Exactly. The prevailing feeling of modern life is being herd managed. So when someone actually stops the conveyor belt just to acknowledge our individual existence, it creates an immediate chemical shift in our brains. We just drop our defensive posture.
But Jack doesn't just do this at the start of the experience, which is crazy.
No.
It's not just about a charming first impression. He sustains it.
Right.
Because true connection isn't just about how you say hello. It's about shaping how the person remembers the entire 4-hour experience.
And golf, probably more than any other hobby, can be an incredibly frustrating game.
Oh, tell me about it.
A player can start with this great mood in the first tee and actively want to throw their clubs into a lake by the 9th hole.
So, as the golfers are making the turn toward the 10th hole, meaning they're halfway through the course, potentially exhausted or just really angry about their score, Jack reappears.
He pops back up.
Yeah, he calls out to them. He yells, "Hey, any birdies on the front 9?" A couple of tentative hands might go up, and then Jack follows it up with, "Is the course record of 61 still good?"
Which is such a brilliant setup because it immediately prompts some self-deprecating golfer to yell back, "Heck, I shot a 61 on just the first 9 holes."
And the whole group cracks up. It's a perfectly timed release of tension.
Yeah, it resets them.
But then comes the finish, the 18th hole. When the round is completely over and they're walking off the final green, Jack greets them one last time. He'll look at them, hum the ESPN SportsCenter theme song, and ask, "Should I call ESPN?"
Which gets another laugh.
Right. They laugh again. But then Jack shifts his tone. He gets genuinely serious for a second, looks them right in the eye, and asks, "Seriously though, tell me about the shot of the day. Which hole was it?"
And what's fascinating here is the psychological mechanism at play.
What's going on there?
Well, human beings naturally suffer from a negativity bias. Our brains are basically hardwired to cling to the bad shots, the mistakes, the annoyances.
Right, we obsess over them.
Exactly. By asking that specific question, Jack is forcing the golfer to sift through 4 hours of potential frustration and mentally locate their single greatest moment of success. And then he listens intently while they explain it.
Let me stop you there and ask you about this, actually. Is Jack essentially playing a psychological trick on these people?
How do you mean?
Well, is he hacking their memory of the course? Because if I shanked 12 golf balls into the woods, but Jack makes me verbally explain the one beautiful 30-foot putt I made in the 14th hole, my brain is going to prioritize the putt right.
I wouldn't call it a trick, honestly. I would call it a highly practical application of what psychologists call the peak end rule.
The peak end rule. Okay.
Yeah, this is a concept pioneered by the Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman. And the rule basically states that human beings do not remember experiences as a continuous, minute-by-minute video recording.
We don't just hit play in our heads.
No, not at all. Instead, our brains take a faux Polaroid snapshots to summarize the whole event. We heavily weight our memory of an experience based on 2 things: the emotional peak, whether that's positive or negative, and the very end of the experience.
Oh, wow. So Jack is essentially handing them the best possible Polaroid to stick in their mental photo album for that end slot.
Exactly. He knows that almost every single golfer has at least one great shot to hold on to.
Even me.
Even you. And by intentionally forcing them to articulate that moment of triumph to an engaged listener at the very end of the round, the frustration of those 12 bad shots naturally fades into the background.
The joy is pulled to the forefront.
Yes, that positive, triumphant memory is the one that gets chemically cemented as they leave the property.
The last thing they feel before they put their keys in the ignition is triumph. That is incredible.
But
here's the ultimate question for any business owner or hospital administrator or just anyone listening who wants to apply this. How do you know it actually matters?
right, the ROI.
Exactly how do you measure this? What is the actual proof that a transaction has successfully been turned into a real relationship?
You measure it by looking at the shift in the customer's behavior. Specifically, the shift from apathy to curiosity.
Okay, the source material actually highlights the exact magic moment when this shift occurs.
It does.
As these golfers are walking back to the clubhouse, riding this emotional high from recounting their best shot to Jack, they turn to look at him. They scan his golf polo, they realize he doesn't have a name tag on, and they ask him the magic question. "So what's your name anyway?"
And that question is the ultimate proof of concept.
because they actually care.
Exactly. Think about why they are asking. Why would a golfer care about the name of a municipal golf course employee? They care because a genuine connection was established.
Right.
If he had just scanned their receipt, barked out the rules, and yelled, "Next," they would never look back.
Because you cannot have a relationship with someone if you don't even know their name. They want to know the actual human being standing in front of them, not just the functionary role he was playing.
Connection creates warmth, but its absolute most powerful byproduct is curiosity.
Hmm.
The golfers want to identify the source of the positive feeling they're experiencing so they can return to it later. It turns a nameless utility into a destination.
And it turns out, Jack isn't just some naturally charismatic guy who happens to really enjoy municipal golf.
No, not at all.
There's a deep professional foundation to everything he's doing. The article reveals near the end that Jack Dunleavy actually spent 37 years in organizational development for the Lehigh Valley Health Network.
Yeah, he spent nearly 4 decades in healthcare, helping hospital leaders create exceptional experiences for patients, families, physicians, and employees. He was applying high-level organizational theory in some of the most stressful, high-stakes environments on Earth.
He also heavily studied customer service and leadership from places like the Disney Institute and Dale Carnegie.
It makes perfect sense.
It makes so much sense now. I mean, Disney is famous for teaching that there are no customers, only guests, and that every interaction is basically a performance on a stage.
Right.
And Dale Carnegie's core principle in How to Win Friends and Influence People is that a person's name is the sweetest sound in any language, and that the deepest human urge is the desire to feel important. Jack is basically weaponizing these principles on a golf course.
He understands that true service isn't about giving your staff a rigid script to memorize. I mean, the script is black and white.
It's just words.
Right. True service is about fostering authentic human connection. He took the profound principles of empathy and recognition from the hospital wing and just applied them flawlessly to the tee box. He proves that human nature doesn't change based on the venue.
So what does this all mean for you listening? It means that the words we choose to use and the specific energy we project actively dictate the reality of the people we interact with. A transaction says, here is your receipt, you're good to go. But a connection says, I see you, I know you, you matter here. And whether you are standing on the first tee of a golf course or standing in the doorway of a patient's hospital room, the fundamental principle is absolutely identical.
The black and white keeps the lights on and prevents the business from failing, but the color is what makes the lights worth turning on in the first place.
I love that.
What Jack teaches us is that making people feel seen and valued costs absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all.
It requires zero budget, you don't need committee approval to do it, but it changes everything about the outcome.
It really, really does. And you can add color to your own daily routines starting today. I mean, you don't need to buy a bullhorn or memorize the ESPN theme song to make someone feel like a VIP.
Probably shouldn't, actually.
Yeah, maybe skip the bullhorn at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
But you just need to look up, make eye contact, pause the conveyor belt for 3 seconds, and genuinely acknowledge the person standing right in front of you.
And, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something that builds on Jack's story, but sort of flips the script entirely.
Oh, okay.
So this source material focuses heavily on the employee, the service provider, turning a transaction into a relationship for the customer, right?
Right.
But what if you, as the customer, applied this exact same color to the service workers you interact with?
Oh, wow. I really love that perspective.
What if the next time you encounter a tired cashier or a stressed out nurse or a busy flight attendant, you didn't just hand over your credit card or your boarding pass in silence?
Right. What if you were the one to pause the machine?
Exactly. Could you, just by asking a simple, customized question or offering a moment of genuine empathy, completely transform their dynamic? Could you be the one to create that magic moment in reverse?
Because at the end of the day, that barista handing you your morning coffee is probably just following a see one, do one training script, too.
Yeah, they are bracing for a transaction just as much as you are.
But if you add the color, suddenly, that invisible robotic wall vanishes for both of you. You might just be the one who makes their day. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Go out there, ask some questions, add some color, and we'll catch you next time.